Danny Ainge has been considered one of the best general managers in the NBA for some time now, and for good reason. He's been around the Boston organization for a long time, too. Around 26 years combined as a player and a general manager. So before we get into Danny Ainge today, I think it's important to look over his history. He took over an underwhelming Celtics team on May 9th, 2003, and immediately got busy. He traded Troy Bell and Dante Jones to the Grizzlies for Marcus Banks and Kendrick Perkins. Perkins was a key piece in their title run in 2008, but he didn't do much in his first few years, and especially considering he only played 10 games in his rookie season. So this 2004 Celtics team had All-Star Paul Pierce, Marcus Banks, Mark Blount, Yuri Welsh, and Walter McCarty. Nobody else played more than 57 games for them, and Ricky Davis was the one that played 57. They had a total of 19 guys play minutes for them in that season, so I think you'll understand why they won 36 games. He would go on in the coming years to hire Doc Rivers, select Al Jefferson, Delonte West, Tony Allen, Gerald Green, Ryan Gomes. All those guys would later become key pieces in the Kevin Garnett trade, as well as trade for guys like Antoine Walker towards the end of his career, as well as Wally Szczerbiak. But that's not even the half of it. Later, he selected Jeff Green 5th overall, and then traded him, Szczerbiak, Delonte West, and a 2008 second-round pick for Ray Allen and Glenn Davis in 2007. Then only 3 days later, he traded Ryan Gomes, Gerald Green, Al Jefferson, Theo Ratliff, Sebastian Telfair, and 2 2009 draft picks for Kevin Garnett. That is the largest amount of assets traded for a single player ever in the history of the NBA, even to this day. And all this is in like 4 years as a general manager. As we all know, they won the title in 2008, but injuries and other factors would soon take over, and that title team would soon fall apart. So he began to tear the roster down. In 2011, he traded Kendrick Perkins and Nate Robinson to the Thunder for Jeff Green and a 2012 first-round pick. In 2013, he hired Brad Stevens as head coach, signed Kelly Olynyk, and traded Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Jason Terry, and a 2017 first-round pick for Keith Bogans, Marshawn Brooks, Chris Humphries, Chris Joseph, Gerald Wallace, and here we go. A 2014 first-round pick, a 2016 first-round pick that would become Jaylen Brown, a 2017 first-round pick he traded down with to select Jason Tatum, and a 2018 first-round pick that was part of the trade for Kyrie Irving in 2017. I mean, the list goes on and on. You can go on Basketball Reference and check for yourself. It's a pretty big scroll. We all remember when he had a million future picks and made moves here and there, left and right, and signed free agents and all of that. In a span of 18 years, Danny Ainge has made a million moves, always being aggressive to make his team better. So what's up with him being so quiet recently? He hasn't really made any trades of consequence since trading Aaron Baines and Ty Jerome for a 2020 first, where Desmond Bane was selected. But then he traded Desmond Bane away for a couple of second-round picks. Meanwhile, they're rolling out lineups of Daniel Tice and Tristan Thompson, and playing guys like Semi Ojeleye, Javonte Green, and Jeff Teague a decent amount of minutes. Everyone has been a bit confused as to why he didn't do anything with the future picks he's had for the last couple of years, especially when the Celtics team is so thin as it is. Not to mention Marcus Smart is out with injury, and Kemba just hasn't looked like the Kemba Walker they signed. So it's Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown carrying this team, and it's confusing as to why he hasn't put more help around them when he hasn't had any hesitation trading his mother and grandmother to improve his teams in the past. The most recent example would be this $28 million trade exception generated from the Hayward signing trade. Apparently, he could have had Miles Turner for Gordon Hayward, who he lost anyway. There have been arguments that Turner can't stop guys like Embiid or Giannis, and while that's fair, nobody else can either. There's been arguments that having a rotation of Theis and Thompson for cheap is better than $18 million a year for Miles Turner. While I think that is a fair argument, it's basically getting one of the better centers in the NBA for free. Danny Ainge said recently that he's targeting shooting with size with the trade exception, I mean, who could that be exactly? I mean, that could mean a shooting big, it could mean a lengthy wing, so who really knows? I mean, maybe they want to go grab Eric Gordon from the Rockets, who despite struggling in recent years, could probably be really good for their second unit. Maybe they want to go get Jeremy Grant. The fit might be questionable considering they've got Smart, Brown, and Tatum filling up the wing spots. Maybe they'd pay him $20 million to come off the bench, who knows? Then there's been thoughts of maybe JJ Redick, but he's not exactly shooting with size. I'm just not really sure who they could go after. I think there's rumors that they are probably going to use the trade exception towards the trade deadline, so maybe that's when he makes a trade and maybe someone else will become available at that time. It's just very odd to me that he's been so quiet with his team struggling depth-wise. I am of the opinion that they're probably going to have to tear this team down eventually and build something else around Tatum and Brown if they really want to be successful, because this Kemba Walker and the rest of the team outside of Marcus Smart just isn't it really. Hopefully one of the young guys on the roster can emerge as somebody for them, and hopefully Danny Ainge breaks his radio silence soon. Who knows? We could all be overreacting, and Danny Ainge could get somebody at the trade deadline that we had absolutely no clue about. So maybe he's smart and we're all just idiots. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. And y'all have a good one.